Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, gonna do an update or part 2 to a video I did yesterday, which was titled Help, My Bro Married a Party Gal with 2 Kids. And guys, a very quick recap to this story. That was about the guy who wrote into me. This guy was a young guy, probably 19, 20, 21 years old, young subscriber and followed me from the beginning. And he wrote in about his buddy. His buddy, who's 19, got himself involved with a gal who's 21 with 2 kids. 2 kids by 21 years old, 2 different daddies, and eventually rushed into things and married her. And it's a complete freaking mess. And this guy knows what he knows, given my work and other channels, and he saw his friend just make the classic mistakes. Ultra nice, gonna be the hero, the white knight, that type of thing. And this guy who wrote in knows darn well his friend is in for a world of hurt, because gals like that, 2 kids from 2 different baby dads by 21, isn't exactly relationship material, let alone marriage material. And also, this guy wrote in this story on behalf of the guy's mother, because she too is deeply concerned, because she knows this girl's trouble. She obviously has been around the block, and she knows this girl's a party girl and all that. And so I covered that yesterday, went through the whole thing, and shared my reasons why being involved with a gal like this is a mistake, trying to protect this guy and everything. And so the guy that wrote in yesterday wrote me an update last night, because immediately, excuse me, after I did the video, he saw it and he presented it to his buddy, as well as the mother that also asked to write in. And let's just say he didn't take it very well. He didn't like hearing that what he was doing was obviously a mistake and all, as I predicted. And also, you're going to see this guy provides more information about the girl here, which is going to even back up even more why I had the opinion that I did, as well as many of you guys. Many of you guys commented on the video, and I thank you for that. And you're definitely going to be commenting away after you see what happens here. So, the story continues. He says, hi again, SSM. I was surprised at how many comments the video got and how many people were offering advice, and some of the comments where people were saying it's too late. I'm not surprised at all the comments. We have a great community here. You guys are great when I ask you guys to add your 2 cents and help out. Tons of comments. Before I explain what happened afterwards, I want to add a personal story basically confirming how female nature is. You're preaching to the choir on this channel, brother. A few years ago, I had a girlfriend that seemed normal at first, but a few days after we began dating, she turned into a psycho. She got angry, told me she hated me, and that she deserved better. So I said, see ya, honey, and I walked away. That's how you handle it. 3 months later, she knocked on my door saying she's so sorry and wanted to try and get back together. I stood there not saying a word and slowly shut the door. She had started begging me, but I said nothing. At that point, I knew your advice was true. Yes, everything I talk about is true. I don't say preach, that sounds bad. I talk about reality here on this channel, and a lot of people don't like reality. I talk about common sense, and a lot of people don't like common sense because it goes against their feelings. A little bit of information before I begin. Beth is the girl, the now wife of his buddy, had her first child at 16 years old, and the second child at 18 years old. The first baby daddy is presently in prison, and the second one left the state. Does this sound like girlfriend material? Wife material? What'd I tell you? First child by 16, second one by 18. You make the mistake the first time, okay, fine, bad enough, but still. But again by 18, first baby daddy in prison. What'd I say about the bad boys? What'd I say about Chad and Tyrone? Second baby daddy left the state. I don't know what that means. Is he escaping the law? I don't know what. Does this sound like a type of gal that if you're a parent would want your son to be involved with? Let's remember, those kids, one day that dude's going to get out of prison, unless he did something really, really bad. And he may come around. This is what this guy who married this girl is going to be dealing with. It continues. Me and Dan is the code name for the buddy here, have been friends for about 13 years, and we started hanging out when I moved to the neighborhood. Maria lived a traditional life until her husband died. Then she had to get a job to support her and Dan, and she wasn't around as often. Now I'll get back to what happened with Dan. When I saw the video, I went down to the street to Maria's house and told her that you made the video. She told me she just saw it because she's been watching your videos during her free time at work. Later that day, when Dan came home from Beth's place with her kids, but not her, Maria asked where Beth was, and Dan said, now listen to this, that he agreed to watch her kids for the evening while she went out with her friends to a rave pool party. Not just a pool party, a rave pool party. I'm sure many of you guys know what happened at raves. He's there watching the kids, the little kids, while she's going to a rave pool party. And I'm assuming she's not going to be wearing old-fashioned 1922 bathing suits. She's probably going to be wearing a very revealing outfit where drugs and alcohol is going on, and a lot of people dancing and acting crazy and all that. This is his wife. People hate on me because I talk the truth, but what I say in the other video. This poor bastard. I could see the angry look on Maria's face. She grabbed her tablet and said she wanted to show him something. She began playing your video, and not even 1 minute into it, Dan made a remark insulting you. Maria immediately smacked him in the side of his head and said this man took the time out of his day to help you, so be respectful. I would have loved to have seen that. I'm so happy I'm motivating people to smack idiots. She then said that you're going to read at least half of the comment section. After I showed 11 other RP channels, and he said, are you guys trying to convince me that Beth is some kind of hoe taking advantage of me? Well, that's usually how things go, and given that 2 kids by a team, 2 baby daddies, 1 in prison, 1 left to state, her actions, how these things usually go, yeah, they're trying to protect you. But I said in that other video, guys, remember, he's not going to like hearing, no guy wants to hear that they effed up, and no guy wants to hear that their girl may not be what they hope she is. And this is not going to be received very well. Well, here you go. Maria then loudly said, exactly, we can all see the signs except you. Dan then said, we just don't understand, and to try and accept the fact that they love each other. This poor bastard, he has no idea what is coming. I believe he loves her, but as for her with him, because remember, this guy was, from what this guy mentioned, the typical nice guy. And did all the typical nice guy things, if you recall. Always taking her out, always buying her things, buying her flowers, all yada yada. Rushed into things, rushed into marrying her to join the Navy and take care of her. When Dan left the room, Maria told me that she hoped her son wouldn't have to go through something like this. I then decided to give it one more attempt to see if I can't do it, and after that, then I'm done. A couple of the things were mixed in here. I reached out to someone I knew back in high school. I'll call him Jeff. Jeff was beyond a chatter Tyrone. He was a straight-up bad boy criminal back then. Back in junior high, he was doing illegal substances and engaging in criminal activity. He got all the girls' attention back in high school. Shocker. Where the hell did you guys go to high school? Until one day he was on a high-speed chase and crashed, and he and his girlfriend fled into the woods before the cops got him. He was then sent to boot camp, and 4 years later he came back looking for an office worker. Since then, he has been a chatter Tyrone instead of a criminal bad boy. I called Jeff and told him about my situation. I asked him if he could come by and try to talk some sense into Dan. He said he'll give it a try. 10 minutes later, Jeff showed up with his laptop. We sat in the living room for a few hours as Jeff explained how women treated him now compared to Jeff's junior high school days. And we read some of the articles about divorce court and female nature. But it doesn't look like it worked because Dan said that men like that are a bunch of incels that don't know the true meaning of relationships. Again, this poor clueless bastard. Newsflash, I'm almost 45. I got 187,000 subscribers on this channel, another 57 on the other channel, of guys all over the world that know darn well about relationships, darn well have been around the block and been burned, and aren't what are being labeled as incels and other insulting things like that. These guys are intentionally single and not doing relationships because they've been pushed too far, taken advantage of. And a lot of guys watching this have gone great lengths to better themselves and all that, and they still choose not to do relationships, knowing how things are, particularly with the divorce courts in terms of marriage. So we know what we're talking about. But the problem is this guy is young. He's 19 or maybe 20 years old. And as the certain stereotype backs this up, young people always think they know everything. They don't want to hear from older, more experienced people. In my opinion, you try to share and help the young people out. And if they don't want to hear it, if everything comes crashing down, we warned them. They brought that on themselves, and one day they'll be warning somebody else. Jeff closed his laptop and said, "We'll see who's laughing in the end," and he left. This happened a few hours ago, and like I said, I'm done. I'm not helping him anymore. I don't know if a part 3 will happen, but it's possible. Thanks, SSM, and have a nice day. So there you go, guys. This was quicker than I thought, but this ended exactly how I thought. Again, no guy wants to hear that he's messed up and that his girl is something that he certainly doesn't want to hear. No guy wants to hear that, but still, you need to listen. When your best buddy from childhood is telling you all these things, and your mother, even though I tell you don't take advice from women, in this case she's right, is telling you this. And yeah, I'm sure it could be a little embarrassing, his story being put online. Fair enough, I'll take that into consideration. And all these dudes around the world saying the same thing, what does that say? But young people can be so stubborn they don't want to hear it. And also, my biggest haters, guys, believe it or not, are not women. My biggest haters are guys that see things in a certain way, have been brainwashed by the narrative in movies and television, impacted by the feminist movement, and they do not want to hear that their girlfriends or wives or their daughters are capable of any of this stuff. So it's easier to hate on me and other channels like mine, other guys like mine with that mindset who've been around the block more times than we can even count, experienced all these things, are guys that do have our shit together, so we're not like these losers that have nothing going for us and that are angry. No. This channel, there's a lot of very successful guys that watch these things and that have experienced these things, and they, same thing. And they don't want to hear it. So it's easier to hate on people like me and us than to accept reality. And what usually happens is, sooner or later, what happens in all these stories, personal stories, crazy stories online, articles, happens to them. And some will come write me back, because this happened, and said, "You were right. You were right. I hated you at first, but I hated what you talked about, but I just didn't want to hear it. And now I've learned." And then I do these stories. So to this guy, I don't think he's going to watch this, but I honestly, even though he was obviously had comments about me and obviously the community and all that, believe it or not, I wish him the best. I really do. And I hope maybe, just maybe he might get lucky and maybe she changed. But do I think that really is going to happen? No. Do I think that what I've learned through my life and all these stories I share and how these things usually go is going to be wrong? No. But I hope maybe just for his sake, he doesn't have to suffer, because I don't want another young guy to suffer, but the odds are greatly it's going to happen. And at the end of the day, if this guy, his best buddy, warned him, his mom warned him, I did this video, all these people were warning him, and he still doesn't even want to even hear it, but instead throwing insults because 19 years old, know everything, then hey, what happens? Then you deserve it. Okay, I don't want that to happen, but at the end of the day, if it does happen, you're going to have to deal with it. And he's going to be dealing with a whole lot, because he married this girl, and those kids, I'm going to be assuming at some point they'll be considered his kids. He'll be responsible for them, not just in terms of taking care, but also financially, even if they broke up. Ugly situation. I advise talking to an attorney, finding out your options. I advise not doing this, because he already married her, but maybe annulment or something like that. Doesn't want to hear it, so at the end of the day, you make your bed and you lie it. If he's now old enough as a legal adult to join the Navy, okay, then he is old enough to deal with the consequences of what happened. But I don't want to hear any crying down the road when, what happens, because gals like this are trouble. Again, 2 kids by 18 years old, 1 baby daddy in prison, another one left to state. That shows about her choices. And these gals will chase the bad boys and have the kids to Chad and Tyrone until they can't take care of them anymore. And then they got to find that nice guy to take care of everything. And the next thing you know, they're out cheating on the nice guy while he's babysitting the kids. In this right there, in this story, she's off in a pool rave. And I'm assuming probably wearing a bikini or something. And there's going to be a lot of drunken dudes drinking alcohol, doing drugs, all that stuff. That's just the beginning. She's 21. She's still in her prime. A lot of these guys will find that nice guy to take care of everything. Well, they can still party. And then the worst thing it could be is if suddenly she's pregnant and this guy would take care of that kid, and it may not be his. Again, I don't want to see this happen to another young brother, but sometimes you have to learn the hard way. So guys, there you go. And I back what I say. Don't do this. Guys, for you guys out there that date in relationships, don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that goes to be the white knight to try to save the damaged girl and be the hero and all that. It's not going to end well for you. And sadly, the odds are great. It will end well for this guy. So for the brother that wrote this in, you did your best, okay? You tried a couple times to help him. He didn't want to hear it. The first time he was pissed at you, let alone now. And to the mother, Maria, I know that's your code name. You obviously wanted my help. I tried. You tried. The guy that wrote in tried. Nothing you can do. But it's not your job, by the way, Maria, to eventually be taking care of those kids. And when all hell breaks loose, financially, it's not going to be your job. You love your son, I get that, and you can obviously, you can be there for him when things come crashing down, they will, but in terms of being responsible for that girl, his now wife, and those kids, it's not your problem. And I just see more bad things coming. And he may not talk to you anymore, and you're going to have to stand your ground. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. Please comment away. And guys, you come across a good story you'd like to share, or you have a personal story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I definitely will down the road when I get a chance. You guys have been great about sending in all this good content. I'm up to my eyeballs in content, and I will get to it eventually. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.